Hi, welcome to She Spice. So this Danileigh adventure just went off in another unexpected direction. What's more, a half year after Dany was condemned to 5 years probation for that DUI, the film of her capture has surfaced. And it's much more terrible than we envisioned. We realized it was terrible when she practically took the existence of a youngster while driving. Impaired yet in this recently delivered film, Dany was caught on camera, pulling the "don't you know who I am" C. She was truly something else, telling the police they couldn't capture her since she's renowned and declining to take any responsibility for her careless conduct, and as though that wasn't enough of a wreck, there's more tea in another part of the video. Quo from Migos makes an appearance, and he's seen remaining by Dany as she's frantically begging the officials, attempting to persuade them that she's a superstar and can't stand to be connected to a wrongdoing. Understand what you know, everything she said to them. However, she said, gracious, we're a big name. Go around there, we're examination. We go around there, you can go around there, no doubt, that is quo. These are my young men. This entire circumstance is past humiliating, and it's wild to think how far Dany has fallen. Recall when she was on the come-up, getting the blessing, furthermore, just ruler. It seemed as though she had everything going for her, a promising profession, ability, and a brilliant future, yet presently, it appears as though she's tossed everything away with a line of horrendous decisions. What's more, the most terrible part, it doesn't appear like Dany has taken in her example. Simply a barely any months prior, she ignited worry for her psychological well-being, the point at which she took to Twitter and posted, "Will life at any point get simpler?" Anyway, rather than fans revitalizing around her, they rushed to remind her of the relative multitude of errors she's made. Individuals are saying she really wants to take some serious responsibility for her activities, from pursuing the child and getting pregnant just to be embarrassed by him, to dropping that terrible colorist song of praise Yellowbone, and presently this DUI that left a young fellow with serious wounds. It's like she's been spiraling from one terrible choice to the following, and fans are tired with her playing the person in question. So what's happening with Danileigh? How has everything turned out from a rising star to totally undermining her own profession? And now that this accursing film of her DUI capture has surfaced, will she at long last take obligation regarding her activities? Or does she actually figure the guidelines don't make a difference to her? We should separate it. Every one of the teens who was on a bike and was endeavoring to go across the road was hit by Danileigh, who didn't actually try and stop or dial back. She continued to drive, and the bike was hauled alongside the G-cart for a few hundred yards, and the youngster who was hit got hit to the ground, promising starting points. So we as a whole know that altogether, to make it in the music business, you try not to constantly have insane vocal cleaves. We've seen this endlessly time again with celebs like J.Lo, who initially hit the scene as an artist, and entertainingly enough, Danileigh loves to contrast herself with Joel, in light of the fact that she gotten going as an artist before she acknowledged she could rebrand her entirety picture as a vocalist. It's insane. I be getting looked at like minimal little Jlo some of the time too. I dance, so also. That like I dropped it on YouTube. I changed my entire hair. I changed my entirety, like Instagram, like everything, like after I got out the gathering. G and I put it out, and it got such countless plays on SoundCloud. It got such countless like perspectives on YouTube. And that was the point at which I began getting like some cloud for my music, so I resembled OK. Before her enormous break, Dany, whose complete name is Danileigh, was crushing as a choreographer. What's more, posting covers on YouTube. Dany was brought into the world by Dominican Guardians in Miami, Florida, and she lived there until she was 16. She then took the action from LA by Dominican Guardians in Miami, Florida, and she lived there until she was 16. She then took the action from LA to seek after her profession as an entertainer, and it didn't take long for her to get her enormous break. Only 2 years after the fact, she was coordinating, featuring in, and arranging a music video for, as a matter of fact, Sovereign, indeed the late incredible ruler himself. So get this. Sovereign's group really connected to Dany and told her Sovereign was feeling her energy and requested that she send a movement video. Ruler then, at that point, by and by chose Dany to coordinate and star in the music video for his 2013 Melody Breakfast. Can stand by, and what's insane is that Dany was only 18 years of age, and she oversaw the project. Essentially, I received an email from Nandy and Nicklene, and they reached me and said that Sovereign needs me to present a movement video. He adored the accommodation, and afterward, from that point, he requested that I compose a treatment for the video and direct the right DUI drive. These essentially get the video going, so that is somewhat the way in which it went about. I composed the treatment, and he cherished it, and afterward, from that point, he needed it huge in the dance business. So from that point, I just had tryouts, and afterward, essentially did this video on my own. I'm 18 years old, and he gave me full control was outrageously insane. It's exceptionally hard to accept, however it was extraordinary. Dany's work on Ruler's video not only displayed her ability but also ignited areas of strength for a business relationship and companionship with the late music legend. He was so intrigued that he even let her run his Instagram. Their bond was developing, but unfortunately, it was stopped when Ruler died in 2016. He provided me with a ton of wisdom on very much like not marking with anyone on the off chance that it's not the right circumstance, or very much like truly looking into that, or simply never changing who I am dependably composed. My own verses, like he truly advised me to take advantage of a ton of things as a craftsman that helped me. So Dany's moving abilities had superstars like Pharrell Williams, Daddy Yankee, and Nelly Furtado paying heed, and she even landed at spots on visits with J. Cole and Megan Mentor. However, in those days, nothing could support your profession like a Drake cosigner. Dany's In My Sentiments challenge got Drizzy's consideration, prompting the meeting during his American visit. From that point, Dany's fantasies weren't simply about dance, not entirely settled to make music that individuals would energy to. Quick forward to 2018, and Dan dropped her breakout hit single Lil Angel with its infectious beat and chill energies. The tune exploded particularly via online entertainment stages like TikTok and Instagram. Even Lil Child jumped on the remix, giving her much more sparkle. And by this point, Dany had completely changed her entire picture, down to her language and characteristics, very much like seeing like the reaction from various fans and stuff. And it's lit. Once I get that energy from the group, I'd be going off the deep end. Like you got the record at the present time, Little Child. And the question is, I realized that we were attempting to get Little Child on the remix. How's that looking? He's on it, but it's no doubt he killed it. Insane voice man calm. Ing out like 1 week from now, we is about going to the up, and keeping in mind that Lil B most certainly placed Dany on the guide. Her genuine advancement track was Simple, which got the consideration of, in all honesty, Chris Brown as a simple remix with Chris became the song of devotion on Tyke Talk. Dany's star was on the ascent. However, at that point, things proceeded. Dany began dating Truly Do Child, and their relationship was the start of a great deal of show. And how about we be straightforward? It didn't help her vocation-wise. It was an exemplary instance of how individual life can spill over into your expert life. What's more, starting thereon, Dany recently kept going with an endless flow of awful choices, the child show, and the start of destruction. The entire circumstance with Danileigh and DeChild was a wreck beginning to end. What's more, it resembled a wake-up call for anybody out there engaging with somebody who's plainly not prepared to settle down. So everything began in September 2011, when Dany and DeChild were first connected, and allowed me to let you know it was an exciting ride. From the leap you realize that special first night stage, when all that's all butterflies and rainbows, while Dany was somewhere down in it, Annie was in any event, arranging Child's music recordings like for his hit Melody Bop, and DeChild was highlighted following right after her like Levi High. They were in a real sense that couple posting charming pics, doing move challenges, all the way. Now we all know that rappers at the pinnacle of their professions don't have the best track record with regards to being steadfast. At D and DeChild was the same. Dany may have been on cloud 9. However, he was doing his thing as an afterthought, and that thing was an entire parcel of untidy. Their relationship was poisonous, loaded with separations and cosmetics. What's more, sadly, a ton of public shows, despite the fact that Dany generally demanded she was certainly not a side piece. The truth was far more convoluted. The child was still caught with his child mom, Mimi, who was an immense piece of his come-up, and his fans knew her well. So while the child was playing house with Dany, he was still keeping Mimi in the image, and the show recently continued to assemble. Now, when you toss in the way that Dany got a bit excessively all right with her purported status, things got revolting. Besides the fact that the tune Rubbish In was, and of itself, however, it was colorist for sure, and Dany wound up getting reactions from fans and individual celebs. Individuals, as of now, generally disapprove of Dany utilizing the nerd, and then, at that point, she dropped this tune, behaving like she's dominant in light of the fact that she's yellowbone, which, by the way, is a questionable term for dark people with light-hued skin. Terms like yellowbone and redbone accompany a great deal of stuff, and they're risky on the grounds that they build up colorism, zeroing in a lot on somebody's. Subscribe She Spice for more videos.